Hello, BizTeams.com is glad that you accepted our offer to answer a few questions. How do you like today's Affiliate Summit?
This Affiliate Summit has been tremendous. It's always a great time to see not only the latest trends, but even more importantly, just to meet some of the thought leaders, some of our customers and prospects, as well as just a lot of really interesting folks with great stories to tell.
Why did the product management field attract you in the very beginning? What are your most noteworthy achievements in product management and digital marketing sphere?
Okay. Well, product management to me was a natural fit. I'm passionate about just what is the business value of technology and actually bringing great teams together to go after innovative markets. And product management is that perfect combination. If anything, if you look at the intersection of business strategy, sales, and just purely being able to execute and knowing how to run a company, it all actually comes together in the product management function. And for me, that's just incredibly exciting. It's never a dull moment. As for just kind of cool things we've done in product management, I'd say it's I've had both the privilege to have both large and startup experiences. One of the cool things actually back at the big company size, I helped to put together, bringing together the best ideas from PeopleSoft, Siebel, JD Edwards, Oracle into the new Fusion platform, which is now the basis for a lot of the push of applications technology. And that was just a very cool, large project to work on. And on the startup side, one of the things that's always fun about startups is the ability to have impact. And there was a turnaround situation, the market had turned south on us, and to be able to come back with a new vision on the product, a new vision for the company, and re-excite a team and see them come back to life, that to me that's incredibly rewarding. And to me those are two of the fun points of why I look at my career.
You received a brilliant education and used to be a chief for many famous companies. What is the vision of the digital marketing development in the highest circles?
It's a little bit of an embarrassing question, I guess. But the thing is, when you look at the impact of technology now, I think we're seeing a very broad acceptance that it is just a fundamental part of strategy. And so even though some of the highest executives may not actually have a full understanding of technology, what you're seeing is them organizing and them moving the budgets in a way that fundamentally embraces technology. If you look at, actually let me bring up one interesting story. I remember I met with one of the CEOs of, last time I was in New York, with a publishing house. And he was trying to get his team, his executive team, to think about how does technology really change their business. And he talked about, at that point in time, the iPad, the original iPad was just coming out. And, this was a little bit ago, and they're all calling it the Jesus tablet. And his team was like, well, what is the use of it? What's the use case? And he was trying to explain to him, and finally he just gave up and said, wait. He had them all sit through a session of watching the new Star Trek movie. And he said, look, it's not a use case. They're holding it in one hand and they're manipulating the data. It's on the walls. There's tablets all over the table. They're standing up like laptops. This is not an individual use case. This is a fundamental shift of how people are going to consume information. And you see that type of analogy going on in different executive boardrooms across America. And if anything, if you look at even the technology spend these days, if those of you who are following Ray Wang out of Constellation Research, he wrote up a couple pieces in the Harvard Business Review on the new role of the CIO. And one of the things we certainly are seeing, and we see it as well, is that technology spend budgets across the board from an IT perspective are falling. But you see the CMO actually having a greatly increased technology spend. And that's because it's all about how we're currently using technology to increasingly engage customers, increasingly manage that brand new relationship with customers, and the CMO really being strategic in terms of how do you actually use technology to move a company forward now.
Do most CEOs understand the opportunities internet marketing offers to large companies?
I kind of answered that question in the last one. But like I said, I think that broadly speaking, we have CEOs who are really understanding that it's going to impact them and are bringing together teams of folks. And so you have not only the CMO taking on more technology questions. Already you have different groups of technology specialists who are becoming more, I should say, strategic into the executive team level. And so they're bringing in the right roles to leverage technology, not necessarily always the CEO who's leading from the front with a deep understanding of how that technology is going to move it. But essentially, it's all coming to the same thing.
We know you spoke on reactivating latent affiliates the day before yesterday. So how can merchants get the most out of their affiliate channel? How do you motivate idle affiliates to start selling again?
Sure. This is one of the things that we see. Just to set the context a little bit is sort of the context of what's going on. First and foremost, when we look at especially like affiliate marketing, right? You already have folks like Forrester coming out with surveys saying that affiliate marketing has now become the third largest marketing spend. People are recognizing the importance of performance marketing. In fact, the latest affiliate benchmark survey, merchants have over 23% of their online revenue coming from affiliates and performance marketing, and that's a huge number. A lot of companies are seeing these numbers, saying, I'm obviously not getting enough from things like performance marketing, from this whole trend towards measurable marketing, and that's a trend that I think is inevitable, and it's only going to get deeper as we get closer to becoming more that promise of one-to-one marketing. Now, in terms of reactivating, it gets back to understanding that it's a 90-10 right now in affiliates, where 10% of your affiliates are actually driving 90% of your revenue, and as such, retention and keeping these guys active, and if they do go latent, how to make them active again is incredibly important. And so when we look at this, some of the key things that we have to look at is, number one, how do you proactively continue to reach out to your affiliates and structure programs? And it's a lot of the same type of best practices, whether it's performance incentives, whether it's exclusive conditions, whether it's tools or customized tools. These are all core to just a proactive program. And if you do have affiliates who are going latent, you do have to be monitoring these things on a regular basis. And rather than spreadsheets, there's a lot of tools out there that people should be using to automate notifications, automate tracking of the affiliates. Not just a drop in sales, but was it a drop in sales 3 consecutive payment periods in a row? Is it a 25% or more? Again, how do you set up those triggers so that you can actually get quicker to the draw if an affiliate is actually trending in the wrong direction? And ultimately, then bring back some of the programs, re-engaging and picking up the phone, right? And looking at what type of approach can you come together. Affiliates who've been selling with you are the ones that know how to sell you already. Their strengths and weaknesses. It's just much more profitable for you to make these guys active again. And so just some of the basic strategies are always, what kind of campaigns can I use to reach out to these guys, or sales commission bumps or contests for short periods of time that I can actually use as new news to reach out to some of my latent affiliates. Maybe set up a structured program and then start the negotiation with them about a bonus program that we could put together for a couple months that would be interesting for them. And again, looking for ways to re-engage them, whether it's some of our customers have done very successful campaigns, putting together, let's say, even a giveaway, where a giveaway fundamentally will draw more audience to that affiliate site. May not always be the best to drive your sales, but certainly reconnects you in the dialogue with your affiliate, and also drives some additional awareness for your product. But yes, the webinar is actually recorded. If those are interested, without going through all of it here, should definitely go to the ASC 12 site and go ahead and watch it from there.
Now we'd like to ask you a few questions looking for your outlook on some topical issues in digital marketing. First of all, what are new opportunities that can appear in the affiliate marketing industry?
It's a good question. It's actually one that's perfect for this setting. For those who haven't read it, Google's Zero Moment of Truth is a really good sort of overview of all the changes happening online and the changes in consumer behavior. And that really sets, I think, the stage for a lot of what performance marketing is about. But that said, if I look at some of the emerging opportunities in the space, one has got to be mobile. I know we have a question on that later, but fundamentally we see mobile as a rapidly emerging, almost like the PCs on the internet back in the 90s type of space, where you not only have a huge jump in terms of addressable mobile devices, but also just a complete lack of competition right now. So you're seeing a lot of folks rush in that space. I think one of the other things that we're seeing as Avangate, as we work across the digital goods space, is that the business-to-business side is really a wide open market. With the consumerization of the B2B or the enterprise, we're seeing a lot of people buying online, more like consumers. And so we're starting to see forward-looking affiliates starting to look at the B2B space and how do I actually create audiences, how do I use a lot of what we learned on the consumer side to jump in and own whole chunks of the business procurement space. And just in the SMB side, this is a multi-billion-dollar industry in terms of just the goods they procure on a regular basis, be it pencils and pens and office supplies, all the way through to software and other types of digital services that these guys are increasingly going to need. And so, we see affiliate networks just starting, especially making it actually much more attractive to these early affiliates because there's just so little competition versus some of these other categories that we see behind you. A lot of other affiliates have been asking me about the digital goods space just because of that area being fresh for them.
Do you believe that semantic search will make SEO and contextual advertising more targeted and effective?
Well, it's interesting. There's been a lot of talk about semantic search, and by the way, I'm no expert on the technology, but I think what we're going to see is this. I think Forrester predicted this to be a $77 billion industry for online ads by 2016. That industry is going to be impacted. And I think the jury's still out in terms of which way, because certainly a portion of that is the big data portions of how to connect people to what they're looking for. Even as much as semantic search tries to answer the original reason for search, which was not to give you a list of results, but to give you an answer, I think we're going to see that the nature of what affiliates are doing in terms of SEO, in terms of contextual advertising, shifting a little bit. And that actually creating a different industry, right? Which is, how do I actually do deeper keyword search to understand what the search engines are going to more and more understand in terms of the context of what the customer is actually asking for, whether it's local, whether it's more personal to the customer, or the natural language of the searcher. And so I think the industry itself is going to have to get deeper to understand how to better leverage what's going to happen in semantic search, and that's going to actually create new opportunities. In addition, when you look at what affiliates are really doing, especially on the content side, guys who really understand their industry and can come with authority, what's going to happen is, even as some of the SEO questions about just connecting individuals with what they were really looking for gets more and more answered, what affiliates are going to have to shift towards is how do you complement that answer with additional things or additional things that the searcher could be actually looking for as well. What are the add-on products? What are the pieces of information that helps them understand more about discover more about the area that they're looking to get answered for? Help them through that selling process of education about what are the ways to evaluate maybe a product or a service that they're looking for. And I think those are the areas that will continue to grow even as semantic search starts to change and shift how the SEO guys have to work.
Will social networks become the main brand communications channel for large companies?
Well, social certainly has all the buzz. And I think that certainly we've also seen a tremendous amount of investment on the social side. The last point on that I would say is that we've also seen consolidation fundamentally happening over the last couple of months. We've seen Oracle, we've seen a lot of the bigger companies now folding social into the suite, which means it's actually becoming more and more of a useful service where the innovations are now becoming massified. But that said, social is only just one of the channels that marketers have, and I think fundamental where you see books like free, or you see folks doing more things in subscriptions with freemium services up front. Companies increasingly have to earn the right to engage with the customer. They have to, when you talk about branding and brand communication, it's not just the dialogue that may be happening between friends, between the brand and the individual, but also the whole customer experience. Whether it's searching for it online, seeing the multiple points of news or of write-ups around this product, to actually opening the box or using the product. These are things that fundamentally drive that brand experience and fundamentally then open up the right for a company to move beyond maybe the free or trial product to engage in a deeper level, an add-on, right? And then to continue that dialogue with the customer, not necessarily always through social, but within the service, within the product itself. I mean, I think the analogy I'd bring is like the gaming industry, right? A little bit more from Avangate's background. We look at digital goods. We see gaming, fundamentally, I think this year in-app purchasing was the big news. Subscription overtook box sales and retail, right? And that was a whole level of monetization. This year we've seen the rapid rise. I believe it was almost to 90 million in-app purchasing that happened. I may be off by a couple of zeros there, but of in-app purchasing happening, and then that's really catching the user at the point of time of need. And we're going to see a lot more of that where people are going to be offering services as they earn the right to build a greater dialogue with the customer. Customers will re-engage and add on more, and brands will then earn the right to not only communicate, to have more attention from that customer, but also the right to potentially transact on a commerce type of side and sell something more to that customer. So I think we're going to see social obviously being a part of the marketing mix, but fundamentally a lot more of the marketing getting into the full brand experience, and that opening up whole new avenues for communication between the brand and the end customer.
Excellent. What advertising opportunities will the ongoing app revolution in mobile create for marketers?
It's like I was saying before, mobile is just exploding, and I think that as early days, we're seeing all new types of formats, networks, approaches towards engaging really starting to explode. And stating a little bit of the obvious around mobile, you have something that's incredibly personal, something that understands the context of where the user's at. Is it local? Is it the other things they search for? It is a personal device, and therefore you have the opportunity to get at that. At the same time, you have a short window where I think things will be a little wild and woolly, right? It's almost like the early 90s where, I hate to say it, there was both gray and white goods happening on the mobile device. And so if you wanted to advertise or you wanted to push, goods, you have different ways of going. I mean, it's almost like the days when someone would be downloading something back in the 90s and they get 4 toolbars added to the machine and they'd be wondering why the machine was running slow. And I think we're already seeing analogies on that. People are downloading an app and all of a sudden they're having notifications on ads popping up, and these type of things will pass. But there is an opportunity where sure, money will be made. I think this will shake out over the next year or two, where you're going to see it get back to more and more match. And get pushed into with some of the more traditional players who are actually bringing real value to the customer. And you're going to see not only opportunities to advertise solutions and apps, in-app and advertise, but also within the context of the local actually starting to pick up as well.
Do you think local and personal search level SEO efforts, by leaving no chance to see and measure results, will kill the SEO industry?
Wow. I hate to pronounce death on anything like that, but at the same time, I would say that SoloMo, social, local, mobile, has been again just all the rage. We're still all looking for when something successful is really going to take hold, and I think the jury's still out of when that will happen. I think it is a matter of time and how that evolves. So for me, it's actually really hard to make a call. But very similar to what we talked about in terms of semantic search, what you're going to find is as search gets better at answering the question rather than just giving a list of results, SEO is going to have to fundamentally change to a deeper set of keyword search to better understand, as search engines are going to understand, what is that context, what is that user is really looking to do, and then use that information, whether to surround that with complementary products or add-ons, etc. I think the real danger here, as with semantic search, is going to be actually the Googles of the world, right? What's going to happen is, given that they have not only the information, but also increasingly a vested interest to use their own content and applications, their own commerce engines, you're going to see some conflict of Google with those merchants and those who make their business around helping the merchants connect with their consumers.
What do you think Facebook is really worth, and why are its shares so low from your point of view?
Well, I do have to admit that Facebook is killing the real estate market over there in Palo Alto, where I am. But that said, hard to predict. I think that Facebook is one of those opportunities that is still just huge potential. I mean, I think you see on one side just a massive audience, and they've done a great job of creating a tremendous amount of value for the users, and they've continued to make smart purchases. Some could argue around the Instagram purchase, but at the end of the day, these guys are seeing on a huge potential.
Last question. What will Michael Nee show or offer mankind in the future?
Well, that's a terrible question. Come on. But no, for me, I'm one of the things I think it just aligned actually with where I'm working with is Avangate. Our focus is really on helping digital goods, cloud services, and software companies really accelerate their global revenues. And for me, that is not only great just because it's part of this just tremendously growing category in the industry, but also I get to work with just a tremendous number of entrepreneurs and help them with how do they move forward with their businesses? How do we find distribution and help them get into China, right? Rather than China always selling this way, or how to help them set up their resale channels as they penetrate the B2B markets. And so for me, I'm really enjoying working with just outstanding entrepreneurs, people who are really innovating in this market to grow their software sales.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time, and please watch the interview on bizteams.com.
My pleasure, and looking forward to seeing you guys again.